Alright, so the first thing we are going to install is Vagrant. Vagrant, as we mentioned in the previous lecture, is an instant provisioning tool. It is used to quickly create virtual machines that are already configured for you. In order to install Vagrant, you will need to install one prerequisite, which is a virtualization platform. You can install any virtualization platform of your choice, for example, VirtualBox, VMware, or Parallel. In our environment, we are going to install VirtualBox. So let's go to download VirtualBox, type that in Google, and you're going to be directed to downloads Oracle VM VirtualBox. I'm going to choose the OS X hosts. You can choose your preferred OS, whatever you are working. You have Windows hosts, Linux distributions, and Solaris hosts. I'm going to download that. Okay, once done, let's double click on the icon to start the installation. Okay, double click on this. It's a very simple wizard, and nothing is different on the other platforms. Okay, once done, you can just make sure that VirtualBox is installed by trying to run it. Okay, and here we go. But we are not going to create VirtualBoxes from this wizard. We are going to use Vagrant for that. So let's quit VirtualBox and go again to Google. Type download Vagrant. Okay, and the first result here, download Vagrant by HashiCorp. This is the one that we are after. Again, you have several options when you want to download Vagrant. You have Debian for Ubuntu and other Debian-based OSs, Linux, of course. We have Windows, we have CentOS for the RPM-based machines like Red Hat, CentOS, Fedora, Oracle Linux, and others. We also have the Mac, which is our choice here, and Arch Linux. Let's choose the Mac OS, and again, we are going to download an installer. Okay, again, double-click on the Vagrant package. This might be a little different if you are running Windows. Okay, and it's done. Now to verify your installation, let's just go to our command line. On a Windows, you might want to open the PowerShell. On a Linux, of course, you open your terminal. And just write vagrant -version. If it gives you the version number like this, on this time of the recording, the latest version, which we downloaded, is 2.0.3. You might have a different version depending on when you downloaded this software. But if it gives you this output, this means that you have successfully installed Vagrant. Okay, let's create a directory for our course, make dir DevOps E-degree, like this. And let's make a directory for our section 1. And now we are inside section 1 directory. In order to create a Vagrant machine, Vagrant works in a directory-based approach. This means that in order to work with a machine, you must be inside the directory of that machine. So if we want to create a machine for Apache, for example, let's mkdir, let's call it vagrant-machines. Let's get inside and create a directory called Apache, or let's say web server. Let's get inside web server, and now you're inside the directory that is called web server inside vagrant-machines. You can use a command like the following: vagrant init, and then give it the name of the box that you want to download. Don't worry if this seems very foreign to you now. We are going to cover Vagrant in much more detail later in this course, just giving you a small lab to see how a simple DevOps environment should look like. So just concentrate on the ease and speed by which we are going to deploy a fully functional operating system with the Apache web server installed in a matter of minutes. So we're going to choose our box, bento/CentOS-7.4. Now, if you want to know where Vagrant got this one, or how is it going to download this box, we need to go to the HashiCorp directory or repository of boxes. Let's go to Google and type Vagrant repository. Okay, the first result here. This is the Vagrant repository. It's in app.vagrantup.com/boxes/search. If you search here for CentOS, for example, you're going to have a large number actually, of boxes that all offer CentOS. So here we have CentOS 1, we have Bento, CentOS, and Bento here refers to the name of perhaps the developer or the party that created this box. Puppet Labs CentOS, this is probably a machine that already has Puppet installed or that is used with Puppet software, and so on. So this is where Vagrant by default pulls its boxes, but you can choose whatever URL or FTP website from which Vagrant can pull this box. If left at the default, it's gonna just use the default repository that we have just seen. So I'm going to type vagrant init bento/centos-7.4. Nothing has happened, no box was downloaded, except that this message is informing you that a Vagrant file has been placed in this directory. Let's ls and see for ourselves. Yes, we have Vagrant file created. This Vagrant file is the base or the manifest of your machine. This file includes everything that the machine needs to start and run. So I'm going to open Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to open project DevOps E-degree directory. Okay, you're in section 1, Vagrant machines, web server, and this is the Vagrant file. Let's have a look. Okay, so the file is very well commented, as you can see, and by default it does not contain any customization or configurations. You are going to do that. It just contains the VM name, the box name, which is bento-centos-7.4. I want to make some modifications, like for example, I want to let this machine forward the traffic that is coming to the host at port 8080 to its own port 80. This is because when we successfully install the web server or deploy the web server, we will need to access it from our host. And Vagrant by default operates in a NAT environment in which all traffic is received by the host first, which is the Mac machine, the physical machine on which we installed Vagrant, and it is going to be forwarded to the internal machine via port forwarding. So if I uncomment this line, here you can see that config.vm.network forwarded port, guest will listen at port 80, which is the VM machine, and the host, which is the Mac or the physical machine on which you install Vagrant, is going to listen at port 8080. This is essential according, of course, to the type of network that you use with Vagrant. We have several types of network. This is the default one, which is the forwarded network or the NAT environment. The host is going to listen on 8080, and any traffic arriving at this port is going to be forwarded to port 80, which is the web server port. Okay, that's nice. Now, if I type Vagrant up now, inside this directory, make sure that you are inside the same directory in which the Vagrant file is placed. Once I do Vagrant up, it is going to download the box from the repository, as we have just mentioned. It's going to take a couple of minutes, depending on your internet speed. Okay, so now the machine has been created. After the box was downloaded, the machine was created like this. Let's clear. And you can ensure that it's running by running vagrant status. Make sure just that you are running all vagrant commands inside the same directory in which the vagrant file is placed. Vagrant status is going to give you the status of the machine it is running. If you want to get inside this machine, all what you have to do is type vagrant SSH and you will get immediately inside the machine. I am now vagrant at localhost. As you can see, the prompt has changed. I am inside the machine. Okay. But this machine is bare metal, as it is called. It does not have the web server that we need to install. I can go and manually run yum-y install httpd and create a index.html file to test the installation and give the developer or whoever is going to use this machine just a welcome page. But I need to use a configuration management tool for doing this as a demonstration. So the first example in our lab is going to be Ansible. If you go to the vagrant file now and go right to the end of the file, you're going to see this part. Enable provisioning with a shell script. This part is for the provisioning. Actually, you can put this part anywhere in the file. It does not have a specific order for placing the different instructions. However, we can just comment out this part like this. And Vagrant supports several types of provisioning, including shell scripts, just a shell script like this. So if you are running in Ubuntu, you can just run apt-get update, apt-get install -y apache 2 to install the Apache web server. But we are going to use a slightly more advanced feature, which is one of our configuration management tools. Vagrant supports Puppet, Chef, Ansible, Salt, and Docker. So in order to use something like Ansible, we are going to change the provisioning to be Ansible instead of shell. And I'm going just to remove the rest of the lines. And I'm going to write do. This is Ruby code if you are asking. Let's give it a variable to work with. I'm going to call it Ansible. Type end, just as not to forget. And inside this block, we are going to write just one line. Ansible underscore playbook. The playbook refers to the manifest or the configuration file that Ansible uses to read and apply the instructions. Each and every configuration management tool out there has to have some sort of configuration file in which the instructions that describe the desired state of the machine is written. It's called different names. So in Ansible, it's called a playbook. In Chef, it's called a cookbook, inside which we have recipes. In Puppet, it's called a manifest, and so on. So let's give it the path to the playbook. Playbooks / apache.yml. Ansible uses YAML format for configuring its playbooks. We are going to create this directory and this file now. So let's go to the web server directory in here, and we are going to create a new directory or a new folder, and we're going to call it playbooks. Inside playbooks, we are going to create a file. I'm going to call it apache.yml. Okay. Inside this file, we are going to write a sample playbook. It usually starts with triple dots like this. Then hosts all. Don't worry, we are going to revisit Ansible in a little more detail later in this course. Just understand for now that this is going to apply on the local host, that this will instruct Vagrant that this playbook is going to run on the machine that it is currently configuring. If you're running Ansible outside of Vagrant, this hosts is going to refer to the IP addresses or the host names of the machines that you want to configure. Become yes, which means that we are going to use sudo. This is mandatory if you want to install a package, of course. It has to be done using the root account. Now the var section defines any variables that you want to use inside the playbook. I'm going to add a message. And this message can read, "Welcome to DevOps course." This message is going to be displayed in the index.html page that we are going to create later in this playbook. Then let's go to the tasks section. First task is going to be install Apache. So let's write the name. This name is going to appear when Ansible starts configuring the machine. We are going to use yum. Yum will take the name of the package, which is httpd. State is present. This state could be absent. For example, if you want to uninstall or deinstall Apache instead of installing it. So as you can see, I'm describing the state of the machine rather than giving Ansible a set of commands to execute. I am declaring that I need a package that is called httpd to be present on my machine. The second task is going to upload our index.html file that we are yet to create. So upload the index.html file. And because the HTML file is going to contain dynamic parts, which is the message that we want to create or the message that we want to display to the users, so we are going to use a template for that instead of a static file. So we'll have a template. The template typically takes a source, which is a template file. So our source is going to be called index.html.jn2 for Jinja, which is the templating engine of Ansible. The destination is going to be, of course, in the default web directory of Apache, which is under /var/www/html, and the name will be index.html. If I did not specify a name, it's going to be uploaded with the same name, index.html.jn2, which of course will not work with Apache. Okay, so that is the template. Finally, we want to ensure that the machine is, we want to ensure that the daemon or the service is started. So start Apache and make sure that it starts when the system boots, to enable the service when the system starts. So we are going to use the service module of Ansible. Name, httpd, state, started, could be stopped, and enabled is yes. This means that it's going to be enabled or started whenever the system boots. So this is our playbook. Let's now create our template, the index.html template. It's going to be placed in the same directory, this in the playbooks. So I'm going to create index.html.jn2. It's going to be a very basic file, nothing fancy. Just write the typical HTML like you write it in any HTML file. We have a head with a title, and this title is going to include the message that we have specified in the playbook file. Variables in Ansible, or in Jinja actually, take this form, a double curly braces, and inside it you type the name of the variable, which is message in our case. Let's close the head section. Let's go to the body and close it first. Inside the body, we are going to have an h1 tag that reads the same message that we have specified. So it's going to be like this. Okay, so now we have the template, we have the playbook file, and we have the vagrant file. Now we have a couple of options. In order to make this playbook work, we can either destroy the machine and let it run again with the modified vagrant file, which is going to invoke Ansible in the creation process and configure the machine while it is being created, or we can simply use vagrant reload, which was going to restart the machine, -- provision. This is going to reload the machine, and at the same time, it is going to use Ansible to configure the machine after it has been reloaded or restarted. So let's use this option, press enter. I'm sorry, I have a typo here. It's ansible.playbook, not Ansible_playbook. So let's run again. So here Ansible is being invoked. This is the playbook that Ansible is going to use to configure the machine to install Apache and upload our index.html file. Okay, the playbook has finished. The machine is up and running. If we get inside it, vagrant SSH. Let's clear the screen now, and if we run sudo systemctl status httpd, you're gonna see that the httpd service is running. This means that it has been installed and it is also running. If I ls/var/www/html, I'm gonna see that I have index.html. If I cat this file for the contents, I'm gonna see that the message that I have specified in the playbook has been substituted inside the file correctly. Now, if I go here to the browser and type localhost :8080, I'm gonna see that I have welcome to DevOps displayed in h1, the same way I specified it inside the index.html file, and also the title is correctly displaying welcome to DevOps course. So that was how I could create an already configured machine with CentOS 7.4 installed and use a configuration management tool like Ansible to deploy a web server and also upload a custom file to be displayed as the default file for the web server with user-defined data, which is the message and the h1 title.